So today we're excited to bring you another installation video demonstrating our Fusion Surface countertop system, and this kit or this combination is called Cherry Blossom, and it consists of white, magenta, and black. Perhaps an unlikely combination, but as you're going to see, this is going to create a really cool maybe accent piece for your kitchen or for a room in your house. So the way we do this is we start by mixing up our Fusion pigments together in our cups, so that way they're ready to be poured onto the surface. So for this amount of square footage here, which is just around 30 square feet or so, we're going to mix up 9 cups in total. Very simple process here. It's just a matter of pouring the Fusion pigment out of the cups or out of the bottles into the cups. And each of these cups is 16 ounces, and each of these bottles is 16 ounces. So we should end up using all of the pigment here and filling up all 9 of these cups. So again, we just start by slowly filling them up, layer by layer. And we'll take some magenta. We're using 3 colors here for this cherry blossom combination, but there's really no particular order that we need to put them into the cups. Just trying to get approximate equal amounts as we do it. And then we just keep repeating the process here. You can see what's already happening in these cups here as the pigments are starting to do their natural separation, creating some really cool effects there with some cells happening, and that's going to transfer over eventually onto the surface of the countertop. All right, and so that's all we need to do in order to mix up our colors in preparation for pouring them on the countertop. Now, if we were doing a larger space, we would use all of our pigments at one time, but we've just used enough out of the kit to do this 30 square foot area. So we're going to set these cups off to the side now, and we're going to prepare for the next step, which is to apply the Fusion Flow resin. And this Fusion Flow resin, it's going to create a really good bond for our pigments, and it's also going to really do all of the work in helping the pigments to be able to flow over the surface. So we'll get all this out of the way. So we're going to mix up 48 ounces of our Fusion Flow resin, and then we're going to add our silver metallic pigment, which is the base color in this cherry blossom kit. So we're going to add 32 ounces of our part A. Which brings us right to there. We're going to add 16 ounces of our part B, which is going to give us total volume here of the 48 ounces that we need. And then we're going to go ahead and add our metallic pigment to it. And that's about half the jar there. That's about all we need. So now we'll take our drill and our paddle, and we'll go ahead and mix everything up. All right, so everything is thoroughly mixed. Get rid of our drill. And let's pour this out on the surface. And it's just simply a matter of pouring it. And then we're going to spread it the easiest way, which is just to use our hands. It's a very, very quick process. So you have plenty of working time with the Fusion Flow resin, but as you can see, you don't need a lot of time. All right, and since we're going to be incorporating our edges into the whole overall finished look here, we want to make sure that we get some of the Fusion Flow resin on the edge as well. So we can take one hand and we can kind of just press a little to the edge, and we're just going to smooth it in with our hands. Again, we want to make sure we get that good adhesion on our edges. That's all there is to spreading the Fusion Flow resin. It's a self-leveling epoxy, so any of my marks that I've made with my hands, those are all going to go away here in just a couple minutes. But it really doesn't matter because this is just going to end up being an undertone for the whole overall project anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and change out my gloves because now it's time for us to start applying the Fusion Flow, the Fusion pigments to the surface. So, and as we have demonstrated in a lot of our other videos, there's a couple of different ways that we can put down the Fusion pigment. We can do a pour technique where we pour it onto our blade and then let it fall off onto the entire surface. We also have a vessel pour technique where we just literally pour it out of the cups out onto the surface. And what we've been doing a lot of lately, which we really like the look of, is using a combination of those two techniques. So we'll go ahead and demonstrate that again on this counter. So we're going to take our first cup and we're just going to randomly kind of create some veins that we would see perhaps in an entire slab of stone. So I'm just going to start right here. I'm just going to create something very random. Like that. And then let's see, maybe I'm going to come up here and have something coming off of the front here. Like that, and maybe I'll even come up here and get something coming out of the side up here. All right, and that's going to kind of be the starting point here for our design. All right, so we're going to move on in the process now. We want to make sure that we take care of our edges. One of the really nice things about these Fusion Surface countertop kits is our ability to really create a really nice edge that's seamless and looks like it's flowing as part of the whole top of the surface. So to do that, it's very, very simple. We're simply going to pour it out of the cup. We're just going to stay about a ½ inch to an inch away. And we're just going to simply pour a bead of it all around the edge. All right, so there's once around. I have a little left here, so I'm just going to go ahead and add a little more to this. All right, there you have it. So you can already see what's happening on the edges here, how it's flowing over. It's giving us that real stone look, even with the different veins and layers of color in there. So that's just going to continue to form, continue to flow, continue to move. And now it's time for us to start filling in the rest of the surface here. And again, the technique we're going to use to do that is with our drywall blade here. Simply just a matter of pouring some onto the surface and then letting it fall into place. So you can really see how it's flowing. The Fusion Flow resin underneath is just the perfect viscosity to move around these Fusion pigments. Come down here and add a little. All right, so let's get another cup and we'll just continue on here. Check this out over here. Look at how those cells and everything are really starting to develop in here. And that's just doing it because of the reaction between the Fusion Pigments and the Fusion Flow resin that's underneath. So really, really cool effect. All right, so I think what we're going to do at this point is we're going to add a little bit more to our edges. That way we make sure we have full coverage. Right now we're probably a good like 95%, but we want to make sure that we have enough volume on the edge. That way over the next hour or so, as it continues to flow, there's enough material there. So we're just going to basically repeat the process that we did the first time. So I'm going to watch these edges for another 5 minutes or so, and if there's any voids, we'll come back and just fill those in, but I think that should be good on the edges. So now we're just going to continue to fill in. Add a little bit more to this. Okay, so I'm just looking around to see if there's any sections here that really need attention. Although it looks like we have them pretty well covered. Just add a little bit more here. Okay, so I think I'm pretty happy with the way this looks. All right, so I have 1 cup left. Maybe I'm going to use it just to accent some of these veins just a little bit more. Okay, I think we got it. All right, so that's all there is to it. Very simple, and as you can see, it was very quick as well. So we got our 2 different techniques going on here with our vessel pour that we made these more accent veins with, and then we've got the regular blade pour technique where we filled in the rest. So all of these pigments are going to continue to move for another couple of hours. So we're just going to leave this alone. We'll watch it over the next couple of hours. What we will do is in maybe about 3 hours or so is we're going to set up a oscillating fan. We're going to put it on a very, very low speed just to create just a ever so slight bit of air movement across the surface. But there is just the right amount of hardeners and everything in the Fusion pigments that are going to react with the hardeners in the Fusion Flow resin, and by tomorrow this will be dry and it will be ready for the next step, which is to put our countertop epoxy on it. So we're looking forward to showing you how we do that tomorrow. So welcome back to our cherry blossom epoxy countertop, and as you can see, this turned out really cool. We did the 2 combinations of the technique where we did the vessel pour, and we're able to get these really nice wide veins that really highlight and accent the piece. And then we did the blade pour technique to fill it in. And these colors really can add a real pop to any kitchen or any space. This is the cherry blossom combination, which consists of white, black, and magenta Fusion pigments, which is on top of a silver metallic base. So really, really cool combination here. But the next step that we want to do is to protect it, and the way we do that is we apply our countertop epoxy. So it's a very simple mix. It's a 2-to-1 mix. So we're going to get a container, and we're going to mix 96 ounces for this project because we recommend 3 to 4 ounces per square foot. So we're just under 30 square feet for this project. So we're going to mix up 96 ounces of the countertop epoxy. So we'll go ahead and pour our 64 ounces of our part A right to there. And then we'll add our 32 ounces of our hardener, which brings us right to there. It's a simple mix with the drill and the paddle for about 2 minutes. So the installation is going to be simple and easy as well. It's the same technique as for the Fusion Flow resin that we used earlier. We're just going to pour out the contents of our container here onto the surface. And we're going to use our hands once again to spread it around on top of the counter. It's a self-leveling epoxy, so it's going to level itself, fill in any of the low spots that we have, and give us a nice smooth surface on the top. So right now we're not worried about any of our edges. We're just moving material around to make sure we have 100% coverage on the top first. Again, this is a really easy and quick process here. All right, so I think I have the top covered. It's already started to drip over the edges, but we'll just make sure that we get a nice coat on the edges as well, just to seal everything and protect it. And if we lack a little bit on the edge where maybe it hasn't dripped so much, we can just push a little bit over and then use our hand to smooth it in. So it would be the same concept as if you were doing this with a roller or a squeegee. I find this just to be easier, and then there's no tools to buy or to have to clean up when we're done. Go ahead and get the front here. All right, and again, it can be difficult to see everything because of the gloss and the lighting, so we want to make sure that we're down looking at the countertop from all different angles just to make sure that we haven't missed anything. This is looking pretty good here. And again, this epoxy is going to continue to level over the next 30 minutes or so. There'll be no bubbles when we're done, which is nice, so we don't need a heat gun or torch or anything like that. We're just going to let this settle out on its own. It's going to cure overnight, and then we'll come back tomorrow and we'll be able to show you the final result. All right, so we're back here at our cherry blossom, and as you can see, it turned out really, really nice. Maybe an unlikely combination for a countertop, but as you can see, it would add a nice little pop of color to a kitchen or any other room in the house. But you can see how these colors blended really nice. Of course, we did our vessel pour technique to create our larger veins throughout the piece, and then we added more of the fusion pigment with the blade pour technique. That beautiful metallic is coming through underneath, really just kind of adding to the whole overall look. We even got a lot of these really nice cells and things that have formed here, giving it just a really, really beautiful, authentic look. So this is just another example of what can be done with the Fusion Surface countertop system from Epoxy Plus, and this is one of just 100 different Fusion countertop kits that we have available on our website. We appreciate any comments that you want to provide. If there's a particular combination that you want to see us do a full tutorial video on, go ahead and leave it in the comments below, and we'll definitely make that so you can see another example of what can be done with a Fusion Surface countertop system. Thanks for watching.